Chances are you have azaleas in your garden, even if you don't have a green thumb. We are chatting with Les Parks, the Director of Horticulture, joining us from Norfolk Botanical Garden. And Les, I know you wanted to share with us some of the biggest mistakes you see with azalea care, what you call bad horticulture.
And right now is a good time to be thinking about it because the biggest mistake people make is with the pruning.
Mm.
Sometimes you see them shaped into little gumballs or meatballs or little cubes, and that's really a bad look for an azalea.
Yeah, I'm afraid I might have seen that too, maybe in my own garden. So, if those are not the correct shapes or the right way to prune an azalea, what are some of your best tips and tricks for that?
Well, you should do it a little bit more natural. Just follow the natural shape of the azalea. You can reduce the size a little bit if you want. And I recommend using hand pruners instead of using electric shears because you get a much better cut that way. And then the other thing to remember with pruning is you have about 6 weeks after they finish flowering to get the pruning done. Anytime after that, you'll start to interfere with next year's show.
Oh man, good to know. And people, if they're in the garden working on their azaleas, they might think, oh, now is a good time to plant more. What is your
Mhm.
take on that?
I would prefer people to plant in the fall. It's a lot less stressful on the plant. Even though the tops of the plants may not be growing or blooming, the roots are growing. They're getting well established. That way, next spring, you'll have a good start to them and you should have a good show next year.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I know you've got other mistakes you want to share with us that you see.
Well, a lot of people think, well, the show is over, then they just forget about them. But they worked really hard. They gave us a very colorful spring, and we really needed that color this past April. It was a stressful month. So now's a good time to give them a little bit of food. And I recommend an organic fertilizer and just follow the directions on the bag. Don't ever give it more fertilizer than what's recommended.
Okay, but just go in and definitely feed them at a
Right.
time when maybe you're not paying too much attention to those needs.
Correct.
Okay. Last mistake I know you wanted to share with us.
The other thing I would recommend, we're getting ready to go into the summer season. It's going to get hot. We will probably have a dry spell. Make sure your azaleas get a good drink during a dry spell. They're shallow rooted, so you want to make sure that those roots stay nice and moist. Um, but don't let them get too soggy because azaleas don't like to have wet feet either.
Any last tips or tricks?
Just keep an eye out for insects. There are a number that will feed on azaleas, especially a stressed azalea. So plant them in the right location, good filtered light, give them that water, and they'll be less prone to insect damage. But if you do have insects, give us a call. We can help you figure out what to do to treat it, or you can call your cooperative extension agent.
Sounds good. Those are great tips. Thank you, Les. And I know
Mhm.
the hours have been changing at Norfolk Botanical Garden. Where can people go for more information on those hours and where they can see your beautiful blooms?
Our most up to date information will be on the website, which is norfolkbotanicalgarden.org.
Les Parks, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.